Everyone is selling you an AI operating system, but in truth, they're selling you smoke and mirrors. I've been in AI for nearly a decade, building it, breaking it, and seeing what really works. And I'm here to call BS on the bad advice.
And I'm here to keep it human as we go up in the AI.
I'm James.
I'm Tanya, and welcome to Up in the AI. So, James, what are we going to get out of this episode today?
I think if you're watching this, you're going to get a fair understanding of the crap that people are talking about and how you can fight the AI overwhelm and really work out what you need to do to get the most out of these systems that everyone is talking about.
Sounds good. Okay, so then before we get into the hearty, meaty part of it, we're going to do
Mhm.
our favorite round, which is BS or no BS. So I'm going to
Yeah.
ask you a question. Your role is to say BS or no BS and give us a little bit of context that can help us understand.
Yeah, cool.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay. If your team uses Gemini, ChatGPT, or Claude every day, you already have an AI operating system.
Oh, that's very broad.
Mm,
BS, I would say. None of them are really AI operating systems on their own. I think Google's probably come closest to making a fully end-to-end operating system, but they have just lots of different tools rather than a complete system.
got
Claude,
it.
co-work, potentially. I mean, that's what I use, but there's lots of different plugins that need to go into that.
Yeah.
BS, BS.
Okay. BS. 2. A small business owner can copy and influence his AI agent stack and then run a fully autonomous team.
BS, yeah. That's the shit that I hate
Yeah.
because all of these influencers are just making it look easy. And most of the time they haven't even done it themselves. It's just smoke and mirrors so that they can do a video.
Mm. 3. The system behind the tool matters more than the model you choose.
Model being like ChatGPT versus Opus, right?
I would guess. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think the system behind anything matters more, whether you're talking about the harness or the model. You can set up a good methodology and leverage Codex, Gemini, or Claude Code. They all work, but really it's about the setup and about the context you give it.
Mm. True, true. All right. Number 4. AI agents reduce the need for human judgment.
Oh. True, yeah. Reduce the need, but not remove the need, yeah.
Okay.
Or you disagree?
No, I definitely do not disagree. I
Okay, cool.
don't think in my experience that it removes that just yet. Maybe
Yeah.
on some very, very, very simple things, but in general, no. Okay, cool. So then we're gonna crack on. So look, before we jump into this, I think let's get everyone on the same page. What is it people mean when they say AI operating system?
Oh, I don't think people know what they mean. I think it's a marketing term that's been thrown out there and everyone's just jumped on the bandwagon. Some people, think of it like an operating system on your computer. This is a place where you can access the different tools and systems. Other people see it more like a command center, a place where they enter and work gets done. And yet others see it as like a thing that operates in the background that gets shit done whilst you're sleeping or on a plane. So I don't think people really know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So then, all right. Then I suppose I'll answer my next question because I was going to say, what is the, oh, do you know what is the defined terminology for it? What do you think it is? What would you say that to be? How would you define it? Is my question.
How would I define it? For me, the AI operating system really is the layer, the interface that you are using to run your AI systems. And more, your AI systems are becoming the operating system of your business, sometimes of your life. So I think it's less to do with a specific input, much like in technology, it's very headless, right? A true operating system can be run from multiple different directions. I can do it on my laptop. I can do it via phone call. I can do it via Telegram or Slack. So it's the layer. It's like the engagement layer.
Ah, okay. And so does that if you were talking to a business owner, would that encapsulate all aspects of their business? Should it all fit under that one layer?
Well, like I suppose the engagement layer is the front facing piece, and then how it actually works is what's in the background. That's the context, that's the skills, that's the agents, all of the different connectors. Should it operate the whole business? I mean, eventually, yeah, why not? But for right now, it can't do that. It can operate lots of different pieces. But my personal experience, as you well know, is that AI is great at 80%, but it needs the human 10% at the start to give it direction and the human 10% at the end to make sure it's not crappy generic AI slop.
Okay, so perfect, right? So then that leads on to what is the generic AI slop or the influencer hype that's out there saying that you can do everything with this and this can run your life and your business?
I mean, I understand why they're saying it. And I definitely, sometimes
Why are
watch
they
these
saying
videos.
it? Why are
Why
they
are they
saying
saying it? Because
Yeah.
AI can run so much more than ever before.
Okay.
But, humans love hyperbole, right? So they don't go, oh, we've gone from, systems running 10% of your business to 50, 60%, which is amazing. Like that is a rocket ship,
Yeah.
right? People can actually run multi-million dollar solopreneur businesses, solo businesses without any staff, without any contractors. That is now possible, right? But they don't say that. They say it can run your business end to end. And that's just BS. And I can give you some examples if you want.
Yeah, I'd love that. That's great.
Okay, so I think one of the biggest issues we're seeing with influencers right now is they are putting a pretty video together, right? And usually looking at some static HTML dashboard, something that doesn't really click through, something that's made to look pretty. And this is cool, right? I've used this myself in my business. When I'm pitching to clients, I'll show them concepts, I'll build a proposal. That's great. But they're acting like this thing is fully configured and automated. It's not, right? So they're pitching this command center that does everything. And then when you grab it down, when you pull it down off GitHub, when you take their series of prompts, you know, it barely does 10% of what they're suggesting. You have to then go hook everything up. Then you have to work with it. And AI being AI, one person will bring it down and it will give us completely different output as somebody else.
I have a lot to say on this matter. Because there is such a for myself, I'm going to talk from my own experience, okay? Coming into working with technology like Claude and then, working with that through anti-gravity and these different stacks that I've been working with, one of the traps I fell down early on was thinking that somebody's stack could work, just be duplicated to work for me. And what I didn't understand was the nuance of what that meant was because you're talking, as I said, that's the way I look at it. If you're talking about an operating system, it's so important that it's got to work for you and your
Yeah.
business, how you
Yeah.
work, how your business works. And it takes time to figure that out. And sometimes working that out can be quite difficult and re-engineering things, but it takes a long time to even get to the point where you realize it's not working. Why is it not working? So there's a
Yeah.
whole process around that. I think that's absolutely true. And I've had lots of experiences myself in going through it, but it's all learning. But it's just that I think one of the things I want to mention is that you've pointed out that what's the time investment really,
Yeah.
to build something that works for you? What would you, I mean, it's probably how long is a piece of string, but talk a little bit about that, I think.
Well, it's all about the complexity, right? Could I push something out with Claude code that does something that I want it to do within an hour or two? Yeah, 100%. Then, that's one thing, right? So let's just address that. So you see a load of people right now saying, you can download or you can take a remotion skill and a plugin and then suddenly you've got your whole video editor, right? And so people are making out that that happens in a matter of minutes. Well, I've tested it. Now, every single time you want to do a new type of video in a new brand, you have to design the whole skill, which means you have to talk for a long time to Claude in order for it to understand how you cut these up, what it looks like, what your brand style is. Then you do one, then you save it as a skill, and then it takes a lot less time. And then if you keep editing that skill, keep updating the memory, it takes less and less and less until it is actually pretty damn good, right? So you can get somewhere in a couple of hours. And then really after that, it's days and days, weeks and weeks of use. That's just one thing in Claude, right? You know my setup. I've got a sales team, a content team, marketing team, project managers, got all of these different things. Each one of them has taken days to get the first iteration up and running. Sorry, hours to get the first iteration up and running, and then days and weeks to actually get it to a point where it's operating at the kind of efficiency that is worthwhile to me. And that's an operating system that you can see. With Claude, you can see everything that it does. You see the breakdown, the thinking, you see when it writes, because you see the writes, the folders, the MD files that it creates. Go to a whole other level of complexity when you're talking about things like OpenClaw, Hermes, and if you even want to do what I'm doing, crazily designing my own agent harness, right? Because you actually can't always verify that it does the thing that it says it does. And so, especially when you're talking through third-party apps like Telegram, you say, can you go and do this? Go teach yourself this. Go do deep research. And it might come back with an answer, but it does not mean that within that answer, it has actually gone out on the internet. It's actually pulled the Perplexity API. It's actually gone and cross-referenced it. It might have just given you a quick answer off the back of its model. And so you have to learn, you have to understand what they do, what the procedure is. You have to quantify it. And as you know, because you've now done OpenClaw and you're now onto Hermes, like it takes hours and hours, days and days for you to understand how it works and if it's actually working.
Yeah. And even though my view right now is Hermes is really good. The thing is, I can't say right now whether it's just because of Hermes. There's a lot of factors involved, like my experience. I obviously came into it with something pre-built. So there's a lot of things there as well. So like we've talked, this is why I think it's quite interesting. So like, I think people get stuck in the idea of like specific tools being the things that are going to automate their business. So like, why are tools not really a business operating system? And just go into some examples on that.
Right. I mean, if you take ChatGPT, you can go into the web interface and you can do a variety of different things. And more recently, ChatGPT has hopped on the Anthropic bandwagon and put connectors in place. And suddenly, it is more of an interconnected system where you can pull data sources from all of these different places. But the truth is that there's a lack of autonomy. There's a lack of pure like efficiency in going into the ChatGPT platform. You have to go click into the image place. You have to go into GBTs. It's like there's no true orchestration chat. There's no true interface. And even with my setups and in Claude Code, like still manual things I have to do to connect the pieces of the puzzle. I think where we've got to, right, if I was to sum it up, we now have systems that can replace a specific role, right? Whether they can replace a human in that role, I'm still not convinced, because that human usually does their role plus does other things that are critical to the survival of a business. Like, for instance, being able to bounce ideas off another human, being able to build the culture, the vibe, to volunteer to do stuff. Right? These are all things that an individual agent cannot do. But let's say, for argument's sake, it can fulfill a role. What I'm not seeing yet, although I see lots of influencers say that they've cracked it, I'm not seeing the army of agents becoming each one of your employees and then them all talking and then taking note from a CEO. And Like, I've just not seen it. So it's still, to me, things are too siloed. Um, there just isn't that communication layer that I feel works well.
And in terms of big tech, like, they seem to be going down that way, like, but they're still not the whole answer, right? Are there any ones there that you would recommend or say that are close or you talked about, they all seem to be going in a different direction, right? Trying to
Mm,
serve a different thing. So it might be
mm.
worth talking a bit about that so people can also understand that for them as well and what they want to use.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the baseline is Claude, right? The way that Claude has designed its harness so that, it's got memory files, it's got skills, it's got plugins, it's got connectors. Like, that's the baseline. And these models like Hermes, these agent harnesses like Hermes, Agent Zero, OpenClaw, they've all modeled their systems off Claude. And so clearly, in a lot of people's thinking, that is the way to go. But then you've got these more guarded systems. You've got Manus. You've got ChatGPT now has agents. These are less open source. They're less smart, right? But by being less smart, they're easier to get into. And then you got things like Google, where you just Google has got such an array of different AI tools, and they're all fantastic. They're just not interlinked. Like, they've got I've forgotten the name now. The competition, it's like Opal, maybe Opal. So the competition for NA10. Supposedly, people are saying that this is true agentic workflows. You talk to it, and it designs the workflow live. Incredible. It's got some of the best multimedia models out there, Nana Banana, VO, and so on. But it's just that there's no way in Google to bring it all together to be like, okay, you are now a marketing team. Like, there's no centralized agent that runs the show.
Why do you think that is? Do you think they're doing it on purpose? Or are they just not there yet?
Not there yet. I think Google are very smart. So I think if they nail each one of these products down from a business perspective, they're gonna reap the rewards of APIs, right? So it doesn't matter whether I'm using Claude or I'm using Hermes. Like, if Google has the best models, then it's raking it in with API costs, API fees. The other thought is, as a product person, like, I would nail the bits first, right? You think about Hormozi, he never goes, go conquer the world. He says, go conquer your local town, and then maybe the larger city, then maybe the state, then the country, and then if you get there, then the world. But I think that's what Google's doing. It's going after key pieces of the pie, especially ones that I don't think ChatGPT were really concentrating on. The only one that ChatGPT has really doubled down into is the image side, as well as just the general LLM, right? So the ChatGPT is fighting Claude, with 5.5 being arguably better than Opus 4.8, and it's battling Gemini with Nano Banana. But Gemini, Google, they're going after all of these different multimedia pieces, all of these different mini platforms. And I think as they win in one or two, they're maybe knocking others off. Like, they've got Notebook LM, which is no one's even tried to knock that one down now, because the only other alternative is something like Obsidian. Does it make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I definitely thought strategy versus just, yeah, not complicated. I mean, it does make absolute sense to get something working well and kind of corner that part of the market so that you've got the following there. And then it's a very easy move. Well, I say it's easy move to integrate them all, might not be, but certainly more so if you're then trying to like do it all at once and failing horribly at everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So then in terms of like, I think you started to talk about it, but like talking about what is required then, to create a really well put together AI operating system, even with, the limitations of what we've got to work with.
Well, I think if you model, what we've done in the AI orchestration program, right? We've got two sides to this equation. You got the cookie cutter. This is where most of the influencers are focusing their time and energy. Those departments, those roles that are very similar across all businesses. As I said, the ones that I've set up: sales, marketing, content, project management, general AI assistants to replace EAs, those kind of things, right? So you can go and you can pull from the best of the best out there, and you can make it your own, and you can run that side, which is usually the prospecting side, the getting leads. The build your funnel, pop them into a CRM, and convert them. Usually, that's pretty similar. The principles remain, and you just need to train it on your offer. Then you got the whole of the other side, which I think far fewer people are actually attacking. This is the side that probably makes the wealth of our program, right? This is, you have to bring all of your data, all of your expertise, all of your templates. You have to map it all out, and then you have to recreate how you fulfill. So if your fulfillment is a line, you need to see that line as a workflow. And then the goal of that workflow is to take a newly converted client, quick wins, and then longer engagement to their desired outcome, and then over deliver beyond their desired outcome, right? Which often has customer success and upselling and all of this fulfillment built into it. And that's why it's harder, because you got to have your shit together. You got to know what good looks like. You've got to have everything templated. You've got to have all of your SOPs. And most people don't have that. And most people are not willing to put the time and effort in to properly document it. So they really do hang around that first bucket of sales and marketing, because in that sense, all they actually have to do is mimic what is already working for other people.
I think that's a really good point. And obviously, the clients that we work with, one of the things I think we've noticed or noted, and it's actually built into the program, but I didn't think I realized just how, what a shift it was for the business owner to go through, was the different way and the mindset around how they work with AI versus how they would work normally. And going through that process, like, it can take time, I mean, if I think about it for myself, it's probably taken considerable amount of time, like 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And it's always learning, like, you're always evolving, especially because the tech is adapting and moving quickly. You're learning new things all the time, but there's still that shift of how you run your day and not blocking it off into like time chunks anymore. It's like, how can you run things simultaneously to get, that's where the increased output comes. And that's where the true orchestration comes in, is that, you are the orchestrator of team. So I definitely think that's one of the things that's stood out for me in the learning journey, when people start to talking about AI operating system, you're talking about it being that layer in which you talk to, or which you interact with it. Right. So we've got some quick fire questions before we wrap it up for today.
Yep.
What is the biggest red flag that someone is selling you AI operating system hype?
I think if they promise the world within an obscenely short amount of time.
Okay. What is the one thing Claude or ChatGPT can do brilliantly inside a real system?
Uh, with connectors, I think they can bring data down and visualize them really well. Also, you can do stuff like triaging of emails. I think is quite impressive. Um, yeah, like, I mean, you can connect your Fathom up, pull your sales scripts, and have Claude or ChatGPT analyze them, give you the good, the bad, the ugly. I think all of that stuff is really impressive.
Yeah. Okay. So what is the one thing that AI should not be trusted to do alone?
Client communication.
When you say client communication, what do you mean?
Any automated communication with those high value individuals that you've already sold a service to. Depending, like, that could even include like trying to get AI to do automatic fulfillment. If you're specifically trying to replace yourself from what should be a very interpersonal service, like doing coaching, for instance, I think that's a mistake. What you should be doing is using AI to free up your time. Like the kind of thing that's great with AI is support inquiries, right? Like you'll have a coaching client, a consulting client, and they'll want to ask you a quick question at a random time, but they can't access you for whatever reason. Having a bot of some sort that is trained on your methodology to answer that question, that is amazing. But trying to replace you in the core conversation, the thing that you spent years of your life building, like that's stupid.
Okay, I'm glad I asked because that was a great answer. What should a business owner map before they buy another AI tool?
Oh, what problems they've got. That's an easy
Mm.
one. Before they buy any AI tool, right? I do believe 80% plus of businesses are demand constrained, meaning they need more clients, they need more leads. But still, like, don't jump on marketing tools and get FOMO from what these influencers are saying before you truly understand what your blocker is. You might need more clients, right? But you might be running amazing ads, but just not getting back to them quick enough. So the thing that you need is a speed to lead, quick reply sales bot. It could be that you're actually spending all of this money on ads, but you've not in any way, shape, or form nailed the hook, the ICA, the offer. So you're just throwing money at the wall and it's not sticking. So you've got to work it
Okay.
out first.
Okay. I wonder if this can answer the second question as well, the last question, so I say. So if someone has 10 AI tools and is still feeling like they're in a blender of chaos, what's the
Mm,
first thing that you would advise them to do? How to fix
get
it?
rid of get rid of 9 of them.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, I'm at the stage now where I keep knocking AI tools off the list. Why? Because
Me
I use Claude Code, right? But it's not just that I use Claude Code. My system is set up that I can call Codex, I can call Gemini. In my sense, these aren't actually tools now. I just see them as models, right? The tools that I've set up are like my skills and my connectors, and I've set those up in a way that I can access them from my computer, from the local filing system and the MCPs that I've built. So, like things like Gamma, gone. Much better presentations with Claude. I do keep Lovable around, mainly because I like the fact that it has inbuilt hosting. But essentially, most of the development happens in Claude Code. Video editing, it took me a long while, but now I use Remotion. So, like I'm just slowly knocking these tools off my list.
Yeah, got it. There's one that I'm on the fence right now that I think I swore that I would never, ever get rid of, which is Canvas. I really thought no,
Canvas.
but Canva, yeah, sorry, Canva.
Yeah.
That's a Canvas. I don't know why I said that. Um, oh, it's because I was reading that article about
I
okay.
thought,
Yeah, that was, like, totally different. But, now, like, when as soon as I get that, "Oh, you've, paid your month subscription," and I look at it and go, I don't think I used it last month," and I'm like, "Oh, do I get rid of it?" But, like, Flux and all of these other things which have come in, like, they're amazing. Take a bit of time to learn them. That's probably why I'm kinda sitting on the fence a little bit because I obviously know how to use Canva so well, but yeah, I see that going the same way, and actually now built my I've got someone on my team who's managing all my emails, and he's specifically looking for all of these subscription emails to come through
mm,
ones and that because I've completely lost track. I've completely lost track of what I've subscribed to and what. Sometimes I subscribe to something just because I want to use the one thing that it does one time, and
yeah.
then when they've got such confusing names that when you go and try and find them again, you're like, what is this thing that I'm paying for? So
You know what
yeah,
I would do? And I mean, some people will be like, "No, no way would I ever do this." But I did it, and I got a lot out of it. I'd
yeah,
actually upload a CSV or even a bank statement into
yeah.
thing and just go, "Can you look for my anything that's reoccurring from the same company?" And then
Yep.
backtrack, use research to work out what it is, and then let's compare it to the stack and see if I should be using it. I got rid of 3 I did that a few months ago. Probably should do it again. Got rid of 3 subscriptions that I've completely forgotten about.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. Definitely gonna do that. Um, okay, so this feels like we've covered everything off. It's a good time to wrap it up. Is there
Yeah.
anything you want to add before we do sign off?
I mean, as per usual, I think you should come to the school community. especially if you're starting from square one and or you're really overwhelmed with all of the AI noise. Like, we're in there, we are always open to answering people's questions. We've got a load of material in the classroom, but not too much. Like, it's enough to get you started. And obviously, from the AI orchestrator's perspective, we've got our new assessment live. So it'll help, particularly if you're doing anything like online entrepreneurship, education, cohort programs, masterminds. It'll help you work out whether you've got something to monetize with IP, with the AI. So I think they're one of the two call to actions to do, as well as like and subscribe for more great podcast content.
Definitely. And then when you jump into the community, do, reach out to us. We are available. We're here to help and ask questions. So we definitely like that to happen. Cool. Well,
All
I think
right.
that's it then.
Yes, we'll see you next time.
See you up in the AI.